Welcome to the Saturday Slam and Jam here on the Athletic NBA Daily. On today's show, we're talking to Mike Zakarian about the NBA playoffs. We'll do another championship draft, and we'll be doing some NBA playoff trivia. With me, as always, is my good friend Alex Speers, and joining us from NBA Bit on YouTube is my friend Mike Zakarian. Mike, what's up?
Hey guys, how we doing? We enjoying tonight's NBA action?
It's a beautiful night.
It was really fun. I like having the two games. I really enjoy having the two games, which is very fun. We are recording this late Thursday. So for when you're listening to this on Saturday, you're confused about the two games that I'm talking about. So there's just one game on Friday. Not talking about that, but we are going to talk about the Eastern Conference to start with. And so the second round of the Eastern Conference is set. Most people are already looking ahead to a Cavs-Celtics conference finals. But I want to ask you the same question about both series. An upset feels unlikely, but what would need to happen for the Pacers and Knicks to make these long series?
The Drew Holiday injury kind of lingering out there where I don't feel like we've gotten an update since that series is wrapped up with Orlando. I feel like that could actually cause some issues for Boston, and Jaylen Brown already kind of, limping around a little bit and then lost a finger, I think, halfway through that series as well. So I think that could be something, but I actually like the Pacers. I think Halliburton, the way that you saw, even though, clearly they just took care of business against Miami, right? But Tyler Hero is still putting up big numbers, and we saw guards be able to attack the backcourt of Cleveland. So I think Indy could be frisky, but I also think I'm putting that energy out there so that we get a long series, but it does feel inevitable that it will be Cleveland and Boston.
Well, let's talk about some of the teams that are no longer with us in the East playoffs. And starting with the team you just mentioned, the Miami Heat. So they won the fewest games they've won since 2015. It's their second straight first-round exit in the 1-8 matchup after finishing the play-in again. How bad do you think Miami's situation is right now? They're not Phoenix, all right? We don't think they're Phoenix, but do you see a clear path forward without a rebuild?
Do you know why I feel like it is kind of bad right now? Is that there's this whole conversation about Giannis maybe leaving Milwaukee, and I haven't heard anybody really say, what about Miami? And that makes me think it's kind of bad, because I feel like that would be the first. That's anytime anybody wants to go anywhere, they're like, well, the Heat could be a pretty good spot there, don't you think? And I feel like we haven't really heard too much about that. So I don't know. I don't really see the path forward to Miami. I feel like they have a lot of nice pieces there, but I don't know what the right move would be that all of a sudden would vault them into the contender conversation.
Yeah, it's tough, especially with Bam's contract. I'm really torn. What you do, what team would that contract make sense for? Because when he's the top played player on your team, it's not going to work. That's not going to work long term. You're talking about a Giannis trade. I feel like it would have to include Bam, right. And then at that point, what's left when Giannis arrives in Miami? So yeah, I don't really know what they do either. It feels like they have one more year where they have to get through some of these contracts with Terry Rozier, and then they can start making some decisions. But it might be another year of just trying to make the play-in as the 10 seed, getting into the 1-8 matchup again. It's hard to see it being something else.
I know it's bad too, because I was really talking myself into those Davion Mitchell minutes here down the stretch. Where I was
too.
Davion's a pretty nice piece. And he was great. But that was the point of that we're not used to talking about Miami like that at this point in the season, I don't think.
Yeah, it feels like we're heading back into the Dion Waiters era of the Miami Heat again.
Which you would love, Andrew. That's right up your alley.
Personally, love it. There's a coffee mug. There's a coffee mug above my shoulder right now of Dion Waiters in a Miami Heat jersey. So it's actually, I'm very, very excited for the future of the Heat. Another team that said farewell this week was the Orlando Magic. The Magic's needs are maybe the most obvious in the league. The president of basketball ops, Jeff Weltman, was interviewed this week and said what everyone else thinks, which is what we need is a proven shot-making, proven offensive player, someone that is going to come in and help augment our weaknesses. As Weltman pointed out, future moves will likely need to involve trades. Do you have any favorite targets for the Orlando Magic?
I wonder if Orlando kind of has to wait till some of the bigger dominoes fall. Like I feel like we get a good clear of what Memphis is doing this offseason. And if they're, you know, not even Ja, but I don't know what they're going to do with Ja, Triple J, and Bane. But if one of those guys were to all of a sudden become available, I think that would be a great fit. I know that Trae Young is the obvious one that gets talked about all the time, but I don't know if Trae would like that. I don't know if Orlando would like that. I don't know if that. Or if Orlando fans would like that. So I don't really know. I don't know who is the right fit or who would be like the right playmaking guard. I think if the Dame injury didn't happen, that could have been like an interesting conversation. But yeah, I don't know. Have you guys like circled anybody that you're excited about that could make sense there?
Well, it feels like they're pretty locked in. Like I can't imagine them trading one of Paulo, Franz, or Suggs. I mean, like that would be a really aggressive trade. And yet, if you're not trading those three guys and you look at what else is on the roster, you're talking about like Anthony Black. Okay. Might be interesting to some team. They do have a pretty juicy pick next year, which is the worst of the Wizards and Suns pick. So that's pretty good. That sounded pretty good. So that's a nice juicy pick. You know, they have Wendell Carter Jr. I don't know. So when I start looking at like those types of assets, I'm thinking someone like more on the level of like an Anthony Simons, who you might be able to get at a little bit of a discount compared to if you're trading for Trae Young or someone like that.
Is that enough? Is Anthony Simons enough? I mean, you've watched him up close a lot.
Yeah.
But is that enough for Orlando, you think? I mean, he's clearly better than like most guards on this Magic team, which is a pretty low bar.
Yeah.
Yes.
But is that enough?
I think he could beat out Corey Joseph for those minutes.
I mean, enough for what? What are you wanting
enough to take the next step? Enough to take the next step for the Magic.
I mean, honestly, if they'd just been healthy this season, I think they would have taken the next step. Like, I think they would have been a top 6 playoff team and we would have been talking about their season differently. But then they lose Suggs. They have to play Boston the first round. You kind of know it's going to be a first round exit. But if that had been like a 6-3 matchup against the Knicks and they have Suggs, like I think that's a lot more interesting. So it's possible that they kind of run it back and just bring in like even lower tier guard than Anthony Simons.
Oh.
It was kind of nuts that they were holding on as strong as they were throughout the season with Paulo and Franz going down. Like, did we learn that Suggs is actually the best player on that team? As they lost Paulo, they lost Franz, they still kept winning games with Suggs out there. Suggs goes down, the other two come back, and then it was just like a nosedive there for like 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. Just competent playmaking and like the point of like elite point of attack defense in this NBA is so important. And like the Thunder have like tripled down on that. And like, that's how they've become like what they are defensively. And so I do think like he matters so much to what they're doing. And you could see Simons fitting next to him. I hate to
the thing with Simons,
he could fit.
Is like, he's not a good defender. Okay. Very bad. But if there was a team that could absorb that, you would think it'd be Orlando, but then I think about the Boston matchup and why that matchup is so problematic for the Celtics is that the Magic can switch everything. And the Celtics love to attack weak links. And so if you do have Simons on that team, how does it flip that Celtics matchup going forward? I don't know.
It's gonna hunt him.
Yes, they will definitely be hunting.
I mean, that's right. We saw Cole Anthony play, like, cause he was playing meaningful minutes down the stretch. And then in that first round, they were like, how about 2 to 4 minutes a game, Cole? That's what we got for you now. Cause that's the second he got out there, they were just going right at him.
Yeah. What about Kobe White? Would you rather have Kobe White or would you rather, I mean, I think I would like Kobe White a little bit better than Anthony Simons, but you could talk me into either side of it.
I love Kobe White.
Contract alone, I mean, they're both expiring next year.
Yeah.
Kobe White makes $12.9 million.
Yeah.
And easy. Anthony Simons makes like 25, somewhere around there. I don't know what those guys' extension numbers could potentially be. I mean, you're going to have to pay them a lot of money going forward, but yeah, I could see it because the Magic's roster is starting to get a little pricey. I mean, Franz is up for his extension is going to kick in. So Yeah, I don't know. They're one of the more interesting teams to me because it does feel like what we saw at the beginning of the season, like that was a really good team. And so if you can just tweak it a little bit and stay healthy for an entire season, I feel like it's not out of the realm of possibility. That's a home court advantage team next year.
No, especially looking at the teams in front of them currently, right? Like we saw what Milwaukee just did here, and I know we'll talk about Knicks Pistons, I'm sure, at some point. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They're not that far away at all.
Being in Eastern Conference,
that's right.
Yeah, it's really nice. The Pistons almost gave us a game 7. It was so close, but in the end, it was Jalen Brunson shaking Asar Thompson, ending Detroit's season, hitting a 3-pointer. What are your thoughts on Cade Cunningham now? You've seen him in his first playoff series. Has your opinion changed on him at all? And, how the Pistons should build around him going forward?
No, I mean, I love Cade. I think he's so fun. And I think, like, if you were a Detroit fan at the beginning of the season, I think your hope was to just come away from this season knowing what you have with your young core and Cade and Duren. And I know Ivy got hurt and that was an unfortunate injury, but Thompson as well. And I think you come away from this, you're like, man, you played 6 playoff games, right? You played 6 playoff games. You honestly could have won 5 of them. It felt like they should have had a ton of wins in this playoff series. So I don't even think they have to shake it up too aggressively. I think, right, you find some shooting, and maybe it's upgrading those spots. I mean, Beasley was awesome this year, but like of the Tim Hardaway Jr., or I don't know what Dennis Schroeder looks like next year, and maybe Ivy is able to step into that role when he comes back healthy, and then Duren just continuing to evolve. Like, I don't think they have to shake it up too much. I like Tobias Harris as being like the wily vet that came in and all of a sudden just completely changed the narrative around Tobias Harris this postseason. It was wonderful. So I wouldn't shake it up too much, I don't think.
Yeah. You just have to leave room for growth too for these guys. Like Asar only played 23 minutes tonight, but had a really big impact. And if he could just get some semblance of an offensive game, I mean, he's clearly an impact player that needs to play more. There's and we didn't even see Beef Stew out there this whole series, which was kind of a bummer. That was a bummer, especially against the Knicks and in a contentious series. The cameras always found him, but he didn't get to play. I'm kind of with you. I don't think that they need to do much, and I think that Cade, who's still a young player himself, is still evolving. And now they know like what it takes, now they know what it takes in a playoff series. And I think they'll be fine. And I think like that's a team. We talk about Orlando, like who are you taking for the next three seasons? Are you taking Detroit or are you taking Orlando?
I'd take Orlando just because I feel like the Franz Paulo combo, we're still working out the fit, obviously, because of Franz's shooting, but having those 2 guys versus Cade plus whoever, whether you want it to say Ivy or Asar or Jalen Duren, I just like that core on the Magic better.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting because I feel like Paolo and Cade probably have similar ceilings, but what Paolo gave the Celtics fits. I mean, in that he was so good. He was so good. And again, if you're an Orlando fan, you probably didn't have a shot in this series from the very beginning, but at least you're like, well, we got a guy that's going to show up in the playoffs. And I think I would lean Orlando too, but that's not even a knock. I think both of those organizations are in like a great spot to continue to develop.
I'm taking Detroit. I just think there's very, very fixable things. Like I think like the turnovers were a huge problem for the Pistons. Like everything just screamed, we're a young team that's just not quite ready yet. Like you watch the end of that game and they just fumbled everything away at the end of that game. And it was just like, we're young and we're not ready to do this yet. It's just what it screamed the entire time. And Brunson was clearly ready to just snatch it away from them. But I think Cade is just like the exact kind of guard that you need. And I just think Orlando on offense is just way too clunky. I just think like you add Anthony Simons to that mix. And I just don't know that is making the difference. I think like having a guy like Cade that can handle and pass and do everything for you. I'd rather have that guy than than almost any other young player in the Eastern Conference, to be honest. And so
it's amazing that after 4 years of Troy Weaver, we're coming out and you're taking the Detroit Pistons. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You gotta be feeling good as a Pistons fan. You know? Yeah, you're feeling awesome.
I watched this game tonight with my good friend Justin, who is a diehard Pistons fan, and I've never seen someone take a playoff loss so well. Because he's just, this is house money, baby. You get to go back to Detroit again. It was wonderful.
It actually reminded me, they didn't really show the fans at the end of that game, but I was wondering if the fans were going to give a standing ovation, because it reminded me of that game that the Thunder had against the Lakers way back in the day when they were the 8th seed. It was their first playoffs. I think they lost in 6, right?
Yeah. They lost
Same thing, because they were at home and the fans gave me a standing ovation because it was just like, this is awesome. Thank you for letting us watch some good basketball. And that's even more the case in Detroit after the 4 years they experienced.
But also they're a storied franchise in a city that has experienced success. And while it's been a long time, I think it's good that if they didn't give a standing ovation, it's probably good. Because Thunder fans at the time, it was like, we're just glad to be here. Everybody stand up. We're in the NBA, everyone. Can you believe this? That's how it felt. Okay, so finally we have the Milwaukee Bucks, who not only lost Damian Lillard to an Achilles tear, but we're now focused on the 24/7 Giannis trade speculation. The Athletic's John Hollinger wrote about how trading Giannis was Milwaukee's best option. But a lot of Bucks fans make the argument that you usually only get a player of this caliber once in a lifetime. And so why would you voluntarily go into the post-Giannis era? Assuming Giannis wants to stay, what would you do as the Bucks?
Think about getting a new mascot or something, just something shiny to distract everybody. I think I would lean into entertainment. I'd invest into t-shirt cannons, get more of those. I think I would lean into we're going to have a good experience here as we win 38 games a year. I really don't know. I don't think there's any sort of move. It's not like Giannis is all of a sudden going to go from averaging 30, 10 and 8 to 45, 25 and 20 like that. Is that what would need to happen for this team? There's no roster moves. There's no draft picks. There's I don't know. I feel bad. I don't know what you do.
Yeah. They have several, what just feels like unmovable contracts. Not only Dame, but Kyle Kuzma. We're locked in, baby.
Man.
Who's taking that contract now? And you can't even, you don't have the assets to even get off of the contracts that you have. It is a very tricky situation. It is very, very tricky. I'm with Hollinger. I don't see another way out unless you just want to ride this out and Giannis is content. But Giannis has already said that he wants another title. So how can you even get close to accomplishing that when you look across, and even you're in the Eastern Conference, man? You can't even do it in the Eastern Conference.
No.
I don't see a path either. Whenever you're relying on the players that they have on their roster right now, I can't imagine it getting better, and I can't imagine a way out of this.
I mean, Bucks fans were really in that last game, the elimination game. They're like, finally, Doc is starting Bobby Portis and Kevin Porter Jr. Finally making the move. That's where we were at. And that's play-in energy.
Yeah, that is definitely play-in energy. If Kevin Porter Jr. is a part of your plan is toast.
Yeah, it's bad.
I just think the conversation is so interesting because I immediately, of course, go to the Bucks subreddit just because I want to see what fans are talking about. And I was a little surprised, how universally Bucks fans are just no, do not trade Giannis under any, assuming that he doesn't ask out. Because I think it's very easy as an outsider to just take this logical brain approach. This is the only way things are going to work out. We have to collect some picks. This is our only good asset. That's the only way we can move forward. But it was kind of universal from among the Bucks fans' comments I was reading. And I get it. Because if you could play that out, I think if you ask Mavs fans about, the end, especially now, about the end of Dirk's career, Like, yeah, it didn't work out, but now that you have Dirk as this like Mav for life, like that is a really special thing. And if Giannis did value that, in fact, there's Eric Koreen for the Athletic wrote an article kind of about that, like this decision. And what if they just decided like that is more important than chasing a ring, and there is value in that. So I do think it's interesting, but yeah, from like the outsider's perspective, it's like, feels like now's the time. Like what can you do?
I grew up in Massachusetts and grew up a Celtics fan. And I still really like Paul Pierce, even though he played for the Nets. You know, like I feel like I didn't be like, oh man, he's on the Nets. I hate Paul. You can still put a statue up. I'll still be okay with it, even though he wasn't there the whole time. Now, granted, I have the hindsight of knowing that turned into Tatum and Brown and where they are now. Yeah. But at the time, still, it was like, okay, that was wonderful.
But I mean, that's a great example, though. Like, just because you can like restart your franchise on stuff like that, if you make the right trade. But also, if you're a Bucks fan, you know the history of the Bucks and the Lou Alcindor trade, and they weren't able to get a player of that caliber until Giannis. Yeah, and like it is difficult. Like building in a small market is really difficult.
Especially when you look at John Horst's recent draft history. There weren't great picks, but name your favorite Bucks rookie of the last half decade.
That's not a fun game. That sounds like a horrific trivia game that you would make me play.
Now, a better game is our NBA championship draft. We've been doing it 3 weeks now. This is our third week.
Third time.
And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the results of the past 2 weeks. Pretty fun to look at it. You know, the Lakers were taken in the round 2, both of the last 2 weeks, out of the playoffs now. The Timberwolves.
That by me twice in round 2.
By you. Kept being fooled. Fooled again. The Wolves didn't even make an appearance until last week. They were taken in the third round. Let's see about this week. Now, Mike, because you're our guest, this is a snake draft. You get to decide which slot you would like to draft from. So if you're like really confident, you think you know who's going to win the championship, you would take the number 1 pick. But maybe you want to hedge and you want to be number 3 because then you get 3 and 4. So it's up to you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to hedge. I'm going to go third.
Third. Okay.
Yeah.
So looking over, it looks like, Andrew, you've never had the number 1 pick, which means you're going to get the number 1 pick this week. Who would you like to take?
I'll take the Thunder. Number 1.
The Thunder for
they're not dealing with any injuries right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Super rested.
Like Boston is they have slept in their own beds so many times in the last 3 weeks. It's been absurd. They're feeling good. They need to absolutely destroy whoever it is in game 1. Like absolutely dismantle them and send a message with all this rest that they have. So yeah, I feel very confident with the Thunder as the number 1 pick here.
So that leaves me the option of taking Boston for the 3rd week in a row.
Yep.
But I want to honor the fact that the Cavs are making me rethink things in this past week.
Oh,
the way in which they dismantled Miami, and I get it, it's Miami, but
yeah, we just talked about this. The team that has no path. How could you beat a team that has no path?
But if you're going to be impressive beating them, that's how you would do it. That's it, where you just leave no questions.
Sure.
And they just look so good, especially offensively. They really look like they just cannot be stopped. So in honor of that, I'm switching it up this week because it's getting closer for me. And so I'm going Cleveland with my number 2 pick.
I was going to say, if you want to talk about another well-rested team, their starters were playing like 28 minutes a game in the playoffs. They were treating that like it was a tune-up. It was incredible. I appreciate you allowing, as I already mentioned, my Celtics fandom of allowing Boston to fall all the way to
You're welcome.
3. So I will absolutely take Boston. My only concern is Drew Holiday, and not to even with Drew Holiday a little dinged up, I feel like the takeaway from that Knicks series was like, I can't see them winning more than a game in the second round. I just did not believe in I mean, Brunson was awesome, but Karl-Anthony Towns again had like 10. What's going on? We gotta get Cat the ball.
I don't know. That Knicks team is so weird. Like I do not trust them at all.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of the vibes they had last year, and it doesn't make sense. But anyways, yeah. So I feel pretty good with the Celtics. I think that matchup against Cleveland, I hope we do get it, just because I think it's going to be so fun. Because I agree, I think Cleveland is legit, even though people are still like, well, we need to see him do it in the playoffs first. But I think that'll be a fun series. All right, I'll take Boston, and then. Listen, I'm gonna lean aggressively into the Anthony Edwards hype, and I'm gonna take Minnesota here in the second round. I was one of those dorks like Andrew, who was taking the Lakers pretty confidently last week, and I am now a true believer, and it's just fun. That's just a fun team to root for right now. So give me Minnesota, and I like the path whoever they get, whether it's Golden State or Houston. I like the way they'll match up.
Also say. They've always played OKC very well. They have so many perimeter defenders to throw at Shea and Dub, and those games have always been exhausting to watch. Mm-hmm. And if it ends up as a conference finals, the Wolves and the Thunder, those are going to be some ugly games, because I feel like every Wolves Thunder game has been disgusting over the last 2 years. All right. So my second pick, you know what? I'm going to guarantee myself a conference finalist by taking the Indiana Pacers. So now I'm guaranteed, Andrew. I'm guaranteed. I get one of them. Okay. I've advanced all the way to the conference finals already.
Okay.
And who would you like to take, Andrew? You get 2 picks.
2 picks. Let's see. I'll take, I'll take Denver.
Now you're going to take both sides of the Game 7? Or are you saying you favor Denver in Game 7 as the home team?
Yeah.
Is that who you'd pick?
Yeah, they got Jokic. They got the altitude.
What about Nicholas Batum?
I just wonder if old man Batum can do that ever again. is the thing I thought after that game was over. He was incredible. He was so good. But I don't know. When you have James Harden on one side and then Jokic on the other, I don't know. I lean Jokic.
Let me ask you this though: if we find out they're wearing those 5280 jerseys again, will that change your pick? It's the worst. We gotta do the same. How Milwaukee's investing in t-shirt cannons and mascots. We need Denver to re-examine some city.
They were amazing in those jerseys the other day. So I don't know.
They were.
Yeah. I actually would double down. Maybe I would take them number 1, honestly, if I knew they were going to wear them again. For my second pick, it would be logical to take the Clippers here, but I won't use logic. I'm going to take the Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
I don't feel good about it, but they just feel... A lot of times, it has felt at times like they were dead, but then they continue to just like become this like zombie version of themselves, and they just win basketball games. So I don't know. I'm just not betting against that whole infrastructure that they have in Golden State.
Yeah, I feel similar with them as I feel about Denver, where at some point in these series, I'm just like, these teams are so thin. Like, how is this going to work out? But then they still win. I don't know.
Denver and Golden State are 2 teams where like the game before has no impact on the game after it. Like you could see 2 very different perform. I'm not worried about Golden State getting smoked by Houston in that most recent game. Like they'll wash it off. They'll be fine.
Well, thank you, Andrew. I'll go ahead and take the Clippers, who I am now favoring in Game 7.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you. And Mike, you get the great choice of choosing between the Houston Rockets or the New York Knicks, who you just said could only win a game in the second round.
This is how strongly I feel against the Knicks, is that I'm going to take the team that's not even in the second round yet. I'm going to take the Houston Rockets over the Knicks.
Okay.
I'm betting on upside here. Like I feel like if the Rockets make it to the second round, then I'm playing your game theory. I'll have at least a shot at a Western Conference Finals. And I could have done the same thing with the Knicks, but it won't happen.
Okay, so that's the end of the third week the NBA Championship Draft. Andrew, you have OKC, Denver, Gold State. I have Cleveland, Indiana, Clippers. And Mike has Boston, Minnesota, Houston. Now, we move on to the Western Conference. So the Clippers, they pushed their series with Denver to a Game 7 on Thursday night. They beat the Nuggets 111-105. Which of those teams do you think has the best shot against OKC in the second round?
That's such a great question. I still think I lean Denver. I almost feel like the Clippers are the better team. But I feel like the Denver Nuggets are so unpredictable. They're probably hard to game plan around just because like you never know are you going to get the one-armed Michael Porter Jr. game where he knocks down like 6 or 7 threes? Christian Brown all of a sudden found his 3-point shot tonight. The Jamal Murray can drop 40 at any given time. And you don't have to worry about the random James Harden game where he only takes like 7 shots in the game. So I think Denver, but I don't feel strongly about it. I think both of these teams are the 2 scariest teams for OKC, but I also think OKC is just very, very good and we'll get through.
Yeah, I feel like Denver could most easily replicate the Mavericks series where it's Luka passing open to wide open shooters who you don't really trust, but all of a sudden they're hitting their threes. I could see that happening. I could see Russ hitting, like 3 of 5 from 3-point land against the Thunder and just being super annoying. Cause I kind of agree. Like the Clippers seem like the more obvious bad matchup because they have those perimeter defenders. They have so many more. Their defense is just worlds better than the Nuggets. And they have so many more guys they could throw at Shea and Dub. But yeah, the way the Nuggets have been playing these last couple games, even tonight, I was just like, man, they're so hard to kill. They won't
die, right? It felt like that game was over 3 or 4 different times. And then all of a sudden a quick 6-0 run.
So who are you picking in Game 7? Would you sounds like you would favor the Nuggets?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Denver.
They're good. That's a good basketball team.
Yeah.
Hot. Got a good 5 guys.
They got a good 5 guys. That's right.
So we're recording before Friday night's game between the Warriors and Rockets. The winner of that series will meet the Minnesota Timberwolves, who beat the Lakers in 5. How much of the Wolves' domination in round 1 was the specific matchup with the Lakers versus the Wolves maybe being a lot better than people thought coming into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think they're probably just a lot better than at least for me personally, than I was giving them credit for. I thought this was going to be a tough matchup for them. And I know it was going to be like, if the Wolves can play big enough and just out big, the Lakers, then maybe that's how they get through. But they really only did that one time. And those 5, like they were just better than them in almost every facet of the game. So I think I just, me personally, underrated them. And again, listen, I took them high in that draft. I'm all in on the Timberwolves now.
What do you think, Al?
Yeah, I mean, the Julius Randle thing in particular, even though I told myself, like, this whole narrative about Julius Randle being terrible in the playoffs, it's based on such a small sample. And part of that sample, we knew he was injured. And yet it just became such a popular narrative that you just assumed going into the playoffs, he was going to be bad. But his style of bully ball was so terrifying in that series. And I'm looking ahead to future potential opponents, like him playing that bully ball against the Golden State Warriors. Like, yeah, I could see that working against the Warriors. And so I am starting to like drastically change my ceiling for this Wolves team, because it does feel like everything is just coalescing at the perfect time.
One of the things that I noticed in that Lakers series was it very rarely was someone taking a shot where you're like, oh, he's probably shouldn't be taking that shot. Like, it seems like they have very clear roles and an understanding of what their role is. And I think that is very important when it comes to playoff runs. And like, Russ, for all the great things and sometimes frustrating things he does, like, you never kind of know what you're going to get from Russ, which is like part of his charm. I don't feel like you're getting that with Minnesota. You're like, Nas is going to be out there and he's going to stretch the floor. Nickeil Alexander-Walker can go out there and just like be a dog defensively. Dante DiVincenzo is going to have a ton of confidence in everything he does. But I think that was something I don't think I had pinpointed until watching that Lakers series.
Yeah, comparing them to the Lakers, Nuggets, Warriors, like they have 8 guys you trust. And none of those other teams can say that. Like, I feel great about DiVincenzo, Nah, and Nas. Like, that's an amazing bench for the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very normal playoff rotation, which a lot of these teams don't have. Like, it's just funny to watch some of these teams that just don't. They have nobody that they can go to. And the Lakers were that way. And like they had one fastball, and the Wolves showed pretty quickly that they knew how to hit the fastball, and it was over. Like, that's over. Like, then, like, what do you do? Like, we'll just try it again. Let's try it more is what JJ tried to do, in the last couple games of this. Like, there was nothing that they could do, just because they could not match up with them. And so I do wonder what it looks like in round 2 with a team that could perhaps match up with them a little bit better and has more than really 4 or 5 guys that they trust. So yeah, I do wonder. I do think a lot of it was matchup specific for them. I do think the Wolves are very good, and they showed. I think they had like the 4th best net rating in the league this season. But I don't know. They also have inconsistencies, and they also had just moments down the stretch of games in the regular season where they would just completely let go of the rope. And so I'm curious to see them play a team that's a little bit more prepared and has a little bit more, going in their favor. But
like a center, like plays a team with a center,
plays a team that plays a guy that plays the position of center. It'd be nice to see them play a team like that. What would you be more interested in watching? Amen Thompson trying to guard Anthony Edwards, or the Wolves trying to figure out Steph Curry?
Oh, man, I love watching Amen Thompson. I think I want to see Amen Thompson. And then it's like at least 4 more games of Dylan Brooks maybe doing something weird. Like, I think that's true. Of course, we want to see Steph as much as possible. I think that's the easy answer. But I'm here for the Amen Thompson journey.
I love the Thompson twins so much. Like, watching that game tonight, I know he got, like, the last shot was bad with Azar, but that play right before that, where he just like bodied up Jalen Brunson on the perimeter, didn't use his hands like at all until he absolutely needed to. Mm-hmm. Those dudes are just so good.
There was like a couple of possessions in a row where they kept trying to set some screens up top, and he just was like almost like a worm, like he was just kind of slithering in front of them, like he was just refusing to be picked. I've never seen a defender do that. He's so good, and that again only going to get better. Both of those dudes, like this, we're at like the early stages of this.
So back to the Lakers, they're heading in the offseason. The focus once again is on acquiring a center after the Mark Williams trade fell through. Do you feel that this Lakers roster is one center away from being a top tier contender in the West, or do you still have significant questions about the rest of the roster?
A significant contender, I think, is interesting choice of phrase. I think we're all going to learn again that OKC is very, very, very good. And I think that where the Thunder are right now, it's going to be more than a center for the roster the Lakers have to all of a sudden compete with a team like that. And and that's not like, I don't want that to be like slanderous to like what LeBron or Luka are doing. They're not there. They played 5 guys. So yeah, if they get a center, they can play 6. Like they just don't have, I don't think they're as close as maybe we all thought they were a couple of weeks ago. And again, that could change if all of a sudden Luka comes in crazy shape and returns to form. But I don't know. I mean, like, what is the center that they could get that like Walker Kessler, and we're like, are they in 1 seed? Like, I don't know if that's going to do it,
Yeah, the muscle watch for Luka is going to be unbelievable this summer. Like, when August rolls around and we start seeing photos of Luka, people are going to freak out one way or the other. It's going to be great.
Move over, Ben Simmons. You're no longer the main gym watch in August. It's now Luka.
I mean, JJ set it up, set this up to be the ultimate muscle watch. Like, he really has.
Just by his comments, are you talking about?
Yeah. No, I'm very much looking forward to it now because he was clearly, I mean, he didn't ever mention Luka by name,
Right.
but he was clearly talking about Luka. Like who else is going to talk? Who is he talking about? He's not talking about Jared Vanderbilt. You know,
I would love, though, if Jordan Goodwin heard that and was like, he's talking about me, baby.
He's got to be talking about me. Gabe Vincent's like, man, I really got to get in shape. You know, no, it's clear who this was about. And, cannot wait for Muscle Watch already.
Do you think there is a center that, or like that all of a sudden changes it for them? Or is it more of just kind of working around the edges, like a rotation center, but not like a game changing player?
I mean, Derek Lively would be very nice.
Stafford.
Yeah. I mean, they need some kind of
that well, can they? Like, honestly,
they need some kind of lob threat.
If that happened, I would lose it. If they were like, you know what, Derek Lively for Gabe Vincent and Jared Vanderbilt, defense wins championships.
And the other first that they somehow didn't get in the league trade. Yeah.
I just could not do it.
All right, Mike, it's time to play Andrew versus the Beat, our weekly trivia show where Andrew goes head to head with a beat writer. Now, Mike, how this works, I've come up with 8 questions. All these questions that I've come up with this week they're all related to the first round of the playoffs in some way. Okay. So there's 8 questions. You'll give me a number between 1 and 8 will correspond to a question. If you get it right, you'll get at least 2 points. If you get it wrong, Andrew will have a chance to steal for 1, and then we'll go back and forth until all the questions have been asked and answered. So to start us off, Mike, I just need a number between 1 and 8.
All right, let's do 3.
Question number 3. During Game 5 against the Clippers, Russell Westbrook had his first playoff game scoring 20-plus points off the bench. Who holds the NBA record for most playoff games with 20-plus points off the bench?
Manu Ginobili would be my guess from the San Antonio Spurs.
Thank you for the clarification. Yes, that is correct. I didn't want to get him confused with another Manu. See, some of them are easy sometimes. You know, that's not too tough, right?
Yeah.
I will say from the receiving end, everything feels tough. Like I'm overthinking it immediately. Like there's no way that's what it is.
Yeah.
I will say Kevin McHale was close. I think it was like 27 games to 24 games, but it was Manu. Okay, Andrew, board is yours. Oh wait, I don't know why I marked out 5. It was 3.
Do you think there will ever be another player like Manu ever?
That is like that good, but willing to come off the bench?
Yeah.
We thought James Harden was that guy.
Yeah.
The Thunder tried to do that.
Tried their damnedest.
I don't think it's quite the same, but I think Peyton Pritchard could get there in 20-point scores if he stays off the bench, but not the same level of impact of a player. I want to clarify that, but as a trivia answer, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Andrew, focus. Choose a number.
Number 1. Sorry.
Question number 1. In Game 5, the Minnesota Timberwolves shot 14.9% from 3 on 47 attempts. Over the last decade, which 2 NBA teams have shot under 20% 6 times each in the playoffs? And you get 1 point per correct answer. So last decade, they each had 6 games where they shot under 20% from 3.
Wow. 6 games.
That's so many
under
games.
20% from 3.
That's a lot of games.
The last decade, that's where it's...
Yeah, it goes back to 2015-16.
2015-16. My brain just immediately goes to Houston, but the last decade, though, I don't know. Houston?
Andrew, that is incorrect. Mike, you have a chance to steal.
All right. How about the Philadelphia 76ers?
Well, that feels right.
Well, it feels wrong to me, Andrew, because it's wrong.
Oh, no.
I will say that was the hardest question. The 2, now, Andrew, you're going to kick yourself because when you start thinking about it, the Oklahoma City Thunder, those OK3 years, they had some terrible playoff games.
You talking about playoff P?
I'm talking about playoff P. Yeah, I am. And the other team,
close, just the wrong P team. I was thinking.
That's right.
And the other one is the Miami Heat, which like sort of makes sense because they've played a lot of playoff games. But on the other hand, like part of that run from the 8th seed was because they were shooting so well.
I know.
All right. So still 2-zip. Mike, you have control of the board. 5 is still available. I've recircled it.
So you know what? I'll take 5 just to make things
just to end this awkward situation.
Okay. In game 5 against the Lakers, Rudy Gobert had 27 points and 24 rebounds. The other active players who have recorded a 2020 game with rebounds in the playoffs are all Hall of Famers, or Hall of Fame locks, let's say, except one. Okay. So it's Jokic, Giannis, AD, LeBron. All those guys have had a 2020 game in the playoffs. Who is the active player that will not be making the Hall of Fame, but did have a 2020 game in the playoffs?
Oh, wait, and you said so confidently will not make the Hall of Fame.
I'm pretty confident. I should check just to make sure.
Yeah, no. Oh man, I so confidently was the second you started this was like it's Nikola Vucevic.
Okay, I just checked Hall of Fame probability on Basketball Reference, 0.0%.
Man, yeah, I wanted to go Vooch here, but now, and I mean, not that I'm just to be clear too, I'm not being like Vooch is a Hall of Famer. That's not what I'm doing.
That's what it sounded like.
But with the confidence that you said he wasn't, I'm like, oh, like did Drummond get one like back in the day?
Drummond is a great guess.
Yeah. All right, well, he made the playoffs a couple of times, right? Or was this that 1 year with Blake? Let's just do Drummond. Let's do Drummond because it's fun. And who knew that Andre Drummond's name would get mentioned on this podcast, you know?
Well, Mike, the way I'm going to tell you you're wrong is that Andre Drummond's Hall of Fame probability is 1.7%.
That means Vuce's has to be higher.
All right, Andrew, you have any guesses?
I do have a guess.
Okay.
What about Jonas Valanciunas?
Okay, so first of all, Vucevic, Hall of Fame probability, 0.9%.
Wow. Okay.
Drummond's in there with got to be the numbers.
The correct answer was Jonas Valanciunas. Congrats, Andrew.
Wow, well done.
Wow.
That was impressive. That was good.
Pull.
Just a beast.
He is a beast.
Okay, Andrew, you have control of the board.
I'll go number 2.
Question number 2. Okay, this is a fun one. James Harden has played in 172 playoff games in his career. In what percentage of those games did Harden score 15 or fewer points? Now, before you answer, you get to choose who answers first. So you can make Mike give a percentage and then you go higher or lower, or you could choose the percentage and make Mike go higher or lower. And if you let Mike answer, though, and he gets it exactly correct, he would get a bonus point.
I'm going to guess the percentage.
Okay.
I first need to grapple with what is a reasonable percentage.
That's what I'm going to do.
The percentage of playoff games that James Harden has scored 15 or fewer points.
Wow. The percentage. Okay. So this includes a lot of games in Oklahoma City where he did come off the bench. I guess it was only 1 year. Never mind. No, that's not true. No, that was several years. That was 3 years.
And if you're a Harden lover, I came up with this question after game 5. He had a great game, game 6.
Yeah.
28, 6, and 8. Congrats. That was one of the games.
27%.
Okay, Mike.
Wow.
Andrew has set the bar at 27% of James Harden's games, playoff games, James Harden's games, that he has scored 15 or fewer points. Would you like to go higher or lower?
I so badly want it to be higher. I'll be honest. I was thinking I was going to guess like if I had to pick a number, I was going to say like 14 or 15%. I was like in that range. I want it to be higher than 27 just for comedy. I'm going to say lower though. I'm going to say lower.
Andrew, you were within 2 percentage points.
Wow.
The correct answer is 25%.
Oh,
so Mike gets the point.
Man.
Quarter of his games.
So many more than I thought it was going to be. Wow.
Andrew, obviously you're a James Harden hater. Did you have to lower your number? Were you originally thinking like 40%?
No. I was thinking more like Mike to start with, that it would be like 15-ish%. But I don't know why I went with the 7 though. That was my mistake.
Yeah. Is it my pick?
Yes, Mike is your pick.
Go ahead and take 6.
Question number 6. There are 2 NBA franchises whose last playoff win came prior to the existence of the COVID-19 virus. Who are they? So you get 1 point per correct answer. So the last time these teams won, COVID-19 wasn't a thing yet. Who are those teams?
Wow, it's really only 2 teams.
I know, isn't that kind of amazing?
Won a game, is that what you said?
Yeah, won a playoff game. It's only 2 teams. 20 of the other 28 teams all did it.
Man, now, God, COVID has just messed with my brain for like time. Like, when was Russ on the Wizards, and did they win a game? You know, that's what my brain's doing right now.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I am gonna. It's gotta be the Wizards. Have to be one of them. I'm gonna say the Wizards.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you right off the bat.
Oh, wrong.
That is wrong. Because they won 1 game in the 21 playoffs against the Philadelphia 76ers.
With Russ on the team, right?
They won game 4. That's right. Should I read the box
knew Russ
score?
was on the team the last time they won one. I just could not figure out what year that was.
Russ had a 19, 21, and 14 in that game on 3 of 19 shooting.
Yo.
What a good Russ line. Okay, Andrew, you could steal 2 points here. If you can get this right.
Hornets.
Hornets is 1. Hornets always an answer.
It's always a good crutch there for teams that lose.
Other guess.
What would this be? This guess is going to feel really stupid if it's not right. But I think this might be San Antonio.
Andrew, that's why I chose this question, because I didn't think your brain would let you choose the Spurs. But yes, it is the San Antonio Spurs.
Very impressive.
Which means we have a tie game with 2 questions left. Whose turn is it? Andrew. Wait, is it?
I'll take 4.
Oh, there's 3 questions left. That's why I got confused. Okay.
I'm glad. Good thing we have the sheet. You try.
Yeah, I have to. Nikola Jokic recorded his 21st. Actually, did he have a triple-double tonight? Would that be his 22nd?
So.
He did not. Okay. Jokic has 21 career playoff triple-doubles. Okay. He recorded number 21 during game 5 of the Nuggets Clippers series. That puts him 3rd all time for most playoff triple doubles. We're going to name the other 9 players in the top 10. So how this works is Andrew will give me a name, then Mike will give me a name, and we'll go back and forth until one of you stumbles. So these are top 10 playoff triple doubles.
LeBron James.
He is number 2 on the list. Mike.
Magic Johnson.
He's number 1 on the list. Andrew.
Russ.
He's now he's 4th on the list.
That was going to be my next one.
Now it gets fun.
Listen, technically you can get to a triple-double with only scoring 15 points. How about James Harden?
James Harden? Not on the list.
Oh, God.
Andrew, you have any other names?
Jason Kidd.
He was next on the list. Number 5.
Bird.
Any other names? Keep going.
Bird,
next on the list.
Rondo.
Oh my gosh, next on the list. Andrew, you've done 4 in a row. Westbrook, Kidd, Bird, Rondo. Can you get the final 3? You won't, but it'd be cool.
Wilt.
Okay, Wilt is number 10. So now you just need 8 and 9. You don't even get extra points for this. This is just showing off.
Yeah,
you
this
get
is
8
pretty cool.
And 9.
Luka,
number 9. Andrew, can you get the final name?
oh my gosh.
He's at 10 in his career.
And Kobe didn't do it, did he?
Oh, sorry, Andrew. You got that wrong, which means I can't give you any points. It was Draymond.
Jimmy? Oh.
Draymond.
Draymond.
Wow.
Now that makes sense.
It does make sense, but it's hard when they don't score a lot of points to think of.
I would have never gotten a Draymond.
Yeah, I'm thinking about point guards mostly.
Okay, Mike, you're down by 2, but you have control of the board. 2 questions left.
All right, let's do it. 7.
Question number 7. Gary Trent Jr. and Jamal Murray both had games with 8+ 3-pointers this week. Gary Trent Jr. actually 2 of them. That's crazy. There are 5 players whose teams are still in the playoffs as of Thursday night and who have had a playoff game in their career where they hit 8+ 3-pointers. Now, the question is, who are they? You can get 5 points on this question.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm so confident you won't that I'm giving you the chance to get 5 points. So teams currently in the playoffs, and they just had to have a game in their career. It doesn't have to be this year. Game in their career where they had 8+ 3-pointers.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to keep saying James Harden until I get one right.
No.
No way. No,
This is in the playoffs?
Yes. You have to do it
for sure. He
in the playoffs.
The Sixers.
And your team has to be in the playoffs right now.
Donovan Mitchell?
That is one, Andrew.
Yeah, I should have started there.
Jamal Murray?
That is incorrect, Andrew.
Really?
Because he was in the question. I literally read his name.
Dang it. I'm just like locked in on 8 threes.
Can I throw one out there?
Yeah, sure.
We can't get points, but I was excited for this poll. Did Bogey get there? Did Bogdan do that with Atlanta?
Bogey did not. So you guys didn't even fall in my trap. The entire reason I asked this question is because Steph hasn't done it. And I thought for sure you would say Steph first.
Yeah, I would have gotten there. I would have gotten around to that one.
The other names, one was this year. Jalen Green did it this year.
Would have never got
crazy.
There.
Fred VanVleet, his teammate, also has done it. Dante DiVincenzo, who we talked about previously, has done it. And Mike, a Boston Celtic, did it. Derek White.
Derek White
once upon a time.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Wow.
Okay, final question. Andrew, you get first dibs. Going back to the 2020-21 playoffs, so the last 5 playoffs, including this season, which player has won the most playoff games who is not a Boston Celtic?
Say it one more time.
Mike, I saw you were excited there for a second.
I was like, I got this.
Say it one more time.
Okay, going back last 5 playoffs, including this season, which player has won the most playoff games who is not a Boston Celtic?
Wow. Last 5. This is tricky. You got to think about the long playoff runs, but the 5 is tough because there's a couple guys I'm thinking of that like they didn't even make the playoffs some years. So it's just, I don't know. I think about Jimmy Butler. How about Jimmy Butler?
Andrew, that is incorrect. Mike, you have a chance to steal.
Man, that was going to be my guess. Did this person have a good game tonight?
I'm not telling you that.
I just feel like Nick Batum has always been in the playoffs. Like he's just always around.
Yeah.
Is that your guess?
Yeah, just because it's late. Give me Batum.
Also incorrect. Would you believe someone who has more playoff wins over the last 5 seasons than Jimmy Butler? You ready for this? Cam Payne. That's not even the answer. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, wow.
That's one of the people who has more than Jimmy Butler.
Wow.
Phoenix. Yeah.
No, the correct answer, which you would have, if you had gotten it, I would have been so impressed because you just don't even think of this guy right now. PJ Tucker is the answer.
Come on.
34 wins.
Wow.
He is 7th on the list among active players, technically active players. I know he doesn't play, but he is on.
Does he even have double-digit points in those games?
Like all combined?
I'll look at his games list right now. Combined. How dare you, Andrew? He had 9 of those 34 double digits. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Now, hold on now. 6 of those 0 points.
Wow. So Batum wasn't up there, huh?
He wasn't. Let me control F, see if I can find him. There he is. 79th.
Oh,
79th.
So close.
Right. Tied with Xavier Tillman Sr.
Oh, hey.
There you go.
He's still in the Celtics.
Also tied with Naz Reid and Karl Anthony Towns. Although Karl Anthony Towns got one more tonight.
Tillman Sr. The way that we all say his name.
That's how it's listed here.
Mike, thanks so much for coming on the show. Go check out NBA Bit on YouTube. Anything else that you want to plug before we go?
No, go check out the NBA Bit. We're over on Playback 2 under the NBA Bit name if you want to come watch some playoff hoops. But thank you guys for having me on. Big fans of you guys and I've been listening for a while. So it was fun to come on and embarrass myself during trivia.
Thanks for coming on, Mike. Hey, and you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and we will read it on the show, just like this one from SF Slim. Your show is still the best with your weekly deep dive with various teams, beat writers, and great trivia. Oh, I read this one last week. I'm not doing this one. I'm cutting this. This is the guy telling us that the Clippers are the surprise team. But is this the same one though? Maybe I won't cut this.
This should be the whole read. Keep all of this.
This is the whole thing. Hold on. I think this is another person telling you that.
Is a different person telling me?
I think it is.
Okay, can I defend myself for 1 second? Because Andrew, I went back. Me and Andrew have a different podcast called Down to Dunk. We do over-unders at the beginning of the season. I went back to my original Word document where we talked about the Clippers. Do you know what their over-under was at that time? 40.5.
Oh, really?
But it is true that if you go to Basketball Reference now, which is what I use when I'm looking at past teams, it is 35.5. That's a huge.
Nope. I was wrong. Still the same one. You know what? Thanks for leaving that 5-star review still. Really appreciate it. Leave us a 5-star review. We'll read it on the podcast. We might even read it 2 weeks in a row. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you guys again next week.